Sorry, Mike.
This is Jimmy Pharaoh of Monte and the Pharaoh, 5 Minutes with the Pharaoh and with Stereo Hall. Asking you to please support Monte and the Pharaoh, seen every week on Facebook Live, Village Connection Network, Late Night in the Village, 8:05 on Thursdays. Please also go to the Monte and the Pharaoh website.com and please check out our sponsors page. And please support our sponsors as they continue to help us bring this programming to you that you so enjoy. So check out MonteandthePharaoh.com and you can catch replays of Monte and the Pharaoh on Village Connection Network, Late Night in the Village, and on the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube channel. Please catch 5 Minutes with the Pharaoh available on its own 5 Minutes with the Pharaoh Facebook page, the 5 Minutes with the Pharaoh YouTube page, and also featured as part of MonteandthePharaoh.com. You can also catch Wisteria Hall on their own Wisteria Hall Facebook page, Wisteria Hall's YouTube channel. Wisteria Hall's latest releases are also available through iTunes, Spotify, our home base of Reverb Nation, and of course, the Wisteria Hall Facebook page. This is Jimmy Pharaoh from Village Connection Radio Network. Later.
Former WWF Pro Wrestling superstar, and this is Monte and the Pharaoh, the #1 ever radio podcast in the world.
Oh man, what an intro from WWE superstar Billy Jack Haynes, because we are the #1 ever broadcast podcast television show in the history of professional wrestling. But really, this is Monte and the Pharaoh, seen here every Thursday from 8:05 to 9 p.m. only here on Village Connection Radio. Also could be seen on www.monteandthepharaoh.com, where you can see such wonderful interviews with Tony Atlas, Tito Santana, Greg Valentine, Scott Hall. The list is long, and we have a weekly recap of the Pharaoh's Rant blog, which is there, and also 5 Minutes with the Pharaoh, which is another 5-minute blog. How'd you come up with that, Jimmy?
Well, we kind of like came up with it a little bit together. You talked about, you should do something else to like complement what we're doing. And the idea came up to do like a 5-minute spiel, which sometimes goes a little longer depending on the subject matter. But it's just, a weekly coverage of what's going on in the wrestling world. It can be any topic. And then we just started developing other stuff that kind of like fit for some reason. We started finding ways to write comedy into the wrestling. You know what I mean? Doing little shticks that involve wrestling but have some comedy in it. And it's been really a great experience. So,
well, here's a great experience. I love opening the show, and I like to read some comments. I usually don't respond.
Oh boy,
to them. We got
who do I look like this week?
No, we got a new guy out there. I don't recognize the name.
That's
Matt
his name.
Bronzecum.
What?
Bronzecum.
C-U-M.
C-U-M.
Nice.
And he writes gay. He writes gay with a last name like
great.
that, Matt.
That's great.
Matt,
oh my God.
Matt Bronzecum.
Right. Nice.
Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Absolutely.
Always appreciate it.
And remember, always use a napkin. Oh my God. It's hilarious. 5 points for creativity. That's hilarious.
You know is that a real name?
I don't care. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. That's funny.
I'll tell you.
Thumbs up, weirdo.
His fucking father should have shot himself with that last name.
Oh my God. Right over into the gutter. Here you go.
I'm sorry.
Come down here with me. Bang, 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 bang.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, hey, fair enough. So what's going on there, Mr. Monte?
All right. So what's going on? So let's open up with fans.
Fans
of professional wrestling.
Okay. What about them?
So recently, Did you see that AAA hug that the fan did on Charlotte? Was it Brudeau? Is her last name Brudeau?
Scarlett
Brudeau. Did you see that?
Yeah, I actually did catch that clip. What of it?
What did you think?
What, the fan?
When you used
well,
to
the
go
fan grabbed Scarlett from behind, right? Mm-hmm. Scarlett, I saw a quote from her. She wasn't even aware at the time what was going on because she was so absorbed in the moment of being her character that she didn't even realize it. I think her partner, whose name escapes me right now, forgive me, came to her aid and quickly got the fan and her separated. But what do I think of it? I think, what the hell's the fan doing? That's
my whole point. It's like, what is wrong with society nowadays?
Is it society or is it one jackass out of 100?
Listen, the things that go on
now. It does
now,
happen at an alarming rate, I'll give you that. But, this was totally stupid,
when you used to go to any sporting event, just forget about professional wrestling, but we'll keep it to professional wrestling. Yeah. At any point when you were close enough, did you ever think it was okay to hug? Even when a male wrestler was coming across, were you one of those guys that always had to tap him on the back to get your touch?
Hey, Matt. Gay!
Matt has some comments. By the way, Bart is watching.
I'm shocked.
Big news in New York, right? We got R.J. Barrett, number 3.
What do you got?
R.J. Barrett, number 3.
Yeah, that's a good pick,
so Matt
obviously.
says, y'all should go the way of Benoit.
Oh, my God. How sweet of him.
Well, truly, Matt, if your father would have went the way of Benoit, we wouldn't have you, Mr. Bronze Cum.
You're just giving him material, so whatever.
I can't help it.
That's hilarious.
Today. Anyway.
Oh, man.
So...
What, basically, go play in the freeway?
Why does everybody feel they have the right to do whatever? Like when I was younger, I put my hand out to the wrestler. I would put my hand out. If they slapped your hand, hey, that's your recognition.
Right.
First of all, if you take a picture with many of the wrestlers that you have met, right?
Yeah.
And they come in through the studio and you meet with them and things like that. And there's a female. We haven't had many females here.
Yeah.
But knowing you, and I'm not going to speak for you, but you'd probably be like, it was okay if I could put my arm around you for the picture? Or would you just put your arm around her and, like, hug her tight?
Well, I wouldn't hug her tight anyway.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
So what is wrong with these effing people,
I don't know. People just take liberties. They think they're entitled to something, I guess. I have no idea. What made him think he's entitled to Scarlett's waistline is...
Well, we spoke about...
And other things, possibly.
We spoke last week about Bubba Ray. Right,
yeah.
Kind of chastising that fan for curse. Again, what fan goes overboard and sits there and curses like obscenities during a match? Look,
I've seen
scream.
it. I've seen it.
And what do you feel about that?
I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's annoying, right?
Yeah, it's really annoying. But hey, I guess that's usually
part of me feels like you pay for your ticket, you can do what you want. You can't. First of all, you can't touch anybody.
You can't do what you want.
You can't touch anyone.
You got to behave like a human being should behave within the constraints and rules of a event. Well, so you got to spell it out for everybody how to behave.
So then
you don't grab the wrestler's body parts.
On the other hand, La Parka beat the shit out of a fan that overstepped his boundaries.
You know how long La Parka's been around?
A long time.
He's been in a billion matches. This fan must have really earned it. I don't know. It's tough to say. Depends on the event. Depends on the situation, circumstances. Depends on the jackassery level of the fan. I've seen lots of verbal chastising. I've seen people throw stuff at wrestlers. I've seen all sorts of stuff over the years.
I always feel like wrestling is as for non-wrestling fans that just aren't into wrestling. The one thing that always has been the case is wrestling's been a microcosm of the real world, right?
It can be, sure.
Dude, think about what goes in this little family of wrestling, right? It's almost incestual behasual
Okay.
No,
okay.
Right?
Hey.
The drugs.
We know about that.
The
suicide.
Just the suicide. The
early exits from whatever. Sometimes they're not even, they don't even do autopsies or find out. Like when Eddie died, all we can do is speculate because it was a heart attack on the report. You could say, hey, it was from he was juicing, or, we could say it was from drugs. I have no idea. I don't know where it goes with some of these guys, but we do know that they all seem to go at an alarming rate. The mortality rate stinks for pro wrestlers. It's awful.
And why do you think that is?
I think it's the lifestyle. I think it's similar to musicians. That's why a couple of weeks back when we were discussing the grind of a pro wrestler, and I brought up the grind of a musician, it was almost like laughed off, and I don't agree at all. I think that the grind of a musician is just as insane in many ways. When they go on tour, for, back in the day, they would go on tour for sometimes a year or two at a clip, and the never, ending traveling and chaos. And if you've ever been a performer in front of a crowd, boy, oh boy, that's a workout. Especially if you're an established band doing 20 songs, you're up there for 2.5 hours. You got to perform in front of 20,000 to 100,000 people. If you're Iron Maiden, you're in Brazil doing it in front of 150,000 people. You know, Bruce doesn't do any drugs, though. That's why Dickinson and Maiden are still rocking all these years later. That guy's sober as shit.
You think part of it, too, is the constant abuse they may get? Forget about what they do to themselves, but how about the fan abuse? It seems like, everybody nowadays, again, it's social media is blowing up, but I could think back in 1992, 93, you never heard of this stuff. Like, people would say things, but the way people talk about other people or presidents or wrestlers, what kind of pressure do you think that is?
It's a lot of pressure.
Look, you're on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, seen by 20,000 people weekly.
Sometimes 50.
Yeah, and then you got some guy calling you gay.
Yeah, well,
right off Jump Street.
Right. That's not really very correct of him either.
Jim, you missed out. This guy called us gay.
You know.
Well, when did this happen?
When you
right when we went on live.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, you want to get this?
Why are we still talking about?
I can't help it. His name is Matt Brands. Come.
Right. See, come on, that is funny. That's funny.
That's Dave's name.
I don't know. Anyway, I won't mention Mr. Cum anymore.
Yeah, he was aborted.
So, best part, forget it. Just let's not
go
even go
on.
There.
Throw the rest of the dirt on the hole. Oh,
look,
my God.
No one likes negativity. How do you think a wrestler...
I think some people love it.
No,
some
I'm talking about if you're the one that people are directing their negativity towards.
Oh, no. Nobody wants to be attacked. I don't think so.
So
then again, there are some people who enjoy it.
So here's a question. Seth Rollins...
How do you know we don't really enjoy it deep down?
You might. I do.
You know?
I enjoy
How do you know we don't
it.
get a motherfucking rise out of it?
I love every second of it. But so here's a guy...
How do you really know?
Here's a guy like Seth Rollins, right?
Yeah.
He happens to be the Universal Champion.
Yeah.
Right? He's the guy that everybody clamored for.
Yeah.
And he happens to be have the recognition of being the lowest rated champion in the history of WWE.
Where did you read this ranking?
The ratings are the lowest they've ever been.
Oh, then that means
he's the champion.
That means he's the worst.
Isn't the champion the face of the company?
No, not in this case. I don't think he's the face because they don't really have one right now. We've discussed this before. If anything, the face is Lesnar. He's a part-time face.
So the question is, do you think
he's the guy they keep turning to?
Do you think there's pressure? When they talked about Shawn Michaels in the 90s, when we hated wrestlers so bad, right?
Okay.
They talk about Shawn felt this tremendous amount of pressure that he had to carry this company through this bad time.
Shawn did.
Do you think Rollins is having sleep?
No,
night
I don't think
issues.
No, I don't think so. I think it was a different time period back then. And don't forget that Michaels was part of a very small group of wrestlers who had huge influence that does not exist today in Vince's company. So I don't think Seth is carrying any pressure that way. No, I think Seth's just doing his best with what he's asked to do from the writers. That's pretty much it.
But you don't think personally he doesn't care?
Care about what? Of course, you always care.
You care about you care about a lot of stuff, right?
Care about what though? You got to specify. I think he cares very much about his performance and the ratings and how the company does, and I think he's holding his own. I think he's done well. I don't think he has Shawn's charisma, but you can't teach something like that. You have to know who has it and use them. Like Velveteen Dream. Here we go back to guys like that.
So do you think if they brought Velveteen Dream up, things could change?
Only if they present him properly and give him a push and don't play 50-50 booking with him like they do with so many. We talked about it. How great would it be if, they finally stop dicking around with the Baron Corbin 50-50 garbage. Everyone hates his guts. Put the belt on him and bring up a guy like Velveteen who's got a fresh slate on the top tier and takes the belt from him. And everyone wants him to. He becomes the new hero. You've got a new, fresh star. And you don't screw with him either. You give him a good title reign. You let him hold it for a while.
Velveteen, you're talking about.
Absolutely. He doesn't drop it 3 weeks later back to Baron. This is what they keep doing. They keep 50-50ing. And that doesn't do anybody any favors. It never has. I thought this was a great week, by the way, for Rollins with the chair. He was just stomping and whomping everybody. He stomped and whomped EC3 because Baron Corbin gets to pick the referee for their match on Sunday at Stomping Grounds. So first he parades out EC3. I'm like, yeah, I'm just glad to see EC3, who, by the way, they give him nothing and he's great at it. What about the limp EC3?
No, it's good.
EC3 has been doing whatever they're asking him, which isn't much, but at least he's still good at it, you know? You know, so he squashes EC3. Eric Young gets approached. You know, he attacks him.
Eric Young looks pretty good too.
Do you think so?
I thought so.
I was kind of shocked at his makeover. You know,
Who were you shocked at?
Well, the classic Eric Young that I remember from Impact had the beard, had some hair. You know, now he's kind of clean shaven.
To me, it looked
looks totally different.
Yeah,
he's always been in good shape.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good wrestler, by the way. He's
baby Scotty Steiner, right?
He's very underutilized. He's a talent. He's good. You know.
Got a phone call, Pharaoh.
Oh, dear God. Welcome to Monte and the Pharaoh. State your name and where you're calling from.
Corpus Christi.
Hey, it's Corpus Christi. You know who this is, Mike.
Hello,
Go on.
how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on?
What's going on? Nothing much, just hanging out over here.
It's hot over there. You're in Texas. What'd you expect?
Yeah,
It's hot.
very hot.
Oy, oy, oy. What is it? What's the temperature in Texas in June anyway? Like 111?
I think so.
Yeah. You see snow never. Of course it's hot. How about them Cowboys? Why not? Are you a Dallas Cowboy fan or a Houston Texan fan?
I'm
Just gotta think about it.
Houston.
A what?
Houston Texans fan.
Houston Texan fan. Very interesting.
Speaking of Houston, the Houston Astros are in town to play the Yankees this weekend.
Oh.
Well, anyway, what kind of wrestling question do you have for us?
Oh boy.
Ooh, I don't know.
And we don't know if Gangrel files his teeth, so get more creative.
So, all right, I'm going to ask you a question before we go. I want an honest answer. Do you think that wrestling's any good anymore?
What?
Well, depends if it's good.
Do you watch it?
Yes.
Who's your favorite WWE superstar right now? And don't say Gangrel.
To pick a different one, oh my gosh, it's AJ Styles.
AJ Styles. Well, that makes sense.
All right, and lastly, what's your favorite Kiss song?
Kiss?
Black Diamond.
Black Diamond.
Can I ask a question?
That's
Oh, God.
an answer. That's it.
Who's your favorite, Monte or the Pharaoh?
Oh, here we
Ooh,
go.
this is a tough question.
Jim, oy.
That is a great question.
No, it's not. It's a clever question.
Who's sexier? Anyway?
How did I know?
Who's
Yeah.
sexier, Monte or the Pharaoh?
Oy, that's a really
In
good
your
question.
opinion.
No, don't answer
You won't hurt
this.
anyone's
In your
feelings.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you will. Don't answer this.
In your-
That's the Pharaoh.
Oh, the Pharaoh.
Wow.
No,
I'm
she
hurt.
didn't. She said Monte
hurt.
and the Pharaoh. That's
No,
what
no,
she,
you can only
no.
pick
My ears hear what my ears want to hear, and I heard her say,
I'm hurt.
Monte and the Pharaoh. That's
We
what she
need an honest answer. You know, we count on you
Oh,
for
would you
honest answers.
stop. Oh my God.
I go with the Pharaoh.
Oy.
I think the Pharaoh is.
This is ridiculous. What is
I agree.
this?
Listen, you got a choice between a giant fat bald guy
Oh,
or
come on.
this handsome rocker.
Yeah,
I'd go with the
handsome
Pharaoh.
rocket. Now me and Marty Jannetty are hanging out.
All
with
right,
the
well,
ruffled feathers
keep on
and-
listening. We're gonna go do some wrestling talk. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Toodles. Go on. It went to the gym. Who's
a good question.
Who's sexier? Jim needs to know. Because this is the question Jim thinks about when he looks at you and me. You know, who's sexier? Oh, yeah, I
Well,
can't.
she doesn't seem to
Damn.
know much about wrestling.
What?
So I'm just thinking there
How
must
do
be
we
a
know
reason
that?
why
We
she's
don't-
watching
She
the show.
doesn't seem to know what. What do you mean?
Does she? I don't know.
Well, she likes AJ Styles and she likes Gangrel from our interview, so
All right, so she
it's
doesn't
the
know.
basics. What's the problem?
I think she was cruising the internet.
And came across
The
other
Gangrel
people.
interview because she's a
Right.
Gangrel person.
and said that really
then
big
she's-
fat guy is hot.
no.
That's what she said.
She
and she
said-
loved the guy behind the board with the big, deep, sexy, resonating voice. That's what happened. I just happened to be
exactly how it
sitting here
played
when
out.
she calls. You're out of your mind. Ay, ay, ay. Did I spin out of that one effectively
You
enough?
always do effectively.
Thank you. Whew, man. It's not easy. I get dizzy.
Dude, by the way, back on the Undertaker and Goldberg real quick.
Why?
Did you see that video of that girl that like tombstoned
What?
some other girl at a fight on Facebook?
Are you serious?
What happened?
That's great.
That got his attention. No, she about killed the girl though. She like broke her
that's
skull.
not great.
She did
See,
it on
that
the
I
road.
didn't know, but that why would
No, it
they?
was a fight.
She gave her a real
She
tombstone
gave
in the
her,
middle
like,
of a
picked
fight.
her up
All
and
right, stop,
tombstoned
stop.
her.
Describe
In the road.
Describe the size of the girls and the part of the country this took place in.
I have no.
Was this
idea
down
what-
south somewhere?
Is this on YouTube?
It's on Facebook.
Was this
You can
down
look it
south
up.
somewhere by any chance?
What's that?
Down south somewhere by any chance?
I have no idea where
Two
it was.
big old girls or what?
They weren't fat.
Oh, they weren't fat.
What do
Okay.
you call it? Pile drives? What do you call it?
What do you call
Tombstone
it?
pile driver by crowd.
Two chicks, tombstone pile driver. Is that what you
Yeah.
should punch in?
Yeah, that might work.
Try that, Jim. Two chicks, tombstone pile driver. I can't believe this is the search
Dude, when you
engine.
see it,
What?
she drops a girl in the head, and
This is
people are
happening.
screaming. Because
Screaming?
the girl's like, ah!
Wait a minute. People are screaming, watching her bloodily destroy this girl
Well,
and filming.
there you go. Welcome to
and
America.
Filming. Not doing anything. Just oh wow! Look at that.
That's right.
That's awful.
Oh shit!
Ah,
Look, she's
that's
bringing her up on a
very,
tombstone
very
pile
good.
driver.
Oy.
Oh shit!
Oh my god, sounds awful. No,
Yo,
I did not know about
I'm
it.
very excited.
Yeah, for
My-
what?
Our girl Alexa is
Yeah.
going to become champion again.
You
Thoughts
think
on
so?
that?
You think so?
She's got Nikki Cross angry at Bailey.
Why do I get the funniest feeling that Bailey and Alexa are about to flip-flop their roles? I get the funniest feeling that for some stupid reason, Nikki Cross helps Bailey. Bailey goes bad. Alexa winds up like everything she said about Bailey, Bailey confirms. I am a bad person. And I don't need your crap, you Barbie doll. And by the way, I loved the insults they were trading. That moment of bliss was one of the best moment of blisses
Thank you.
they have had so far. That was fantastic. And when she said to Bailey, "You peaked in NXT," oh man,
How good was that?
them's fighting words.
Yeah,
and by the way, Bailey threw some badass forearms and shots during that fight. That was excellent. Excellent.
So you really think Nikki is going to turn on Alexa?
I know that
it's
she's
not
going
gonna
to
be-
turn on her in one form or fashion at some point anyway, because
Yeah,
either,
right. That
it
could be
goes
the
one
way
of
to
two
program.
ways.
Sure.
Either Alexa totally mistreats her and she gets tired of it,
Yep.
or out of nowhere, Bailey does this inexplicable turn. Just because it feels like Alexa's about to predictably take the title and then eventually abuse Nikki and blah, blah, blah. It seems so predictable that what they do nowadays is they do the total opposite. So all of a sudden we're going to have heel Bailey, and Alexa was right all along, and Alexa...
So you're
I
thinking-
don't know if that's going to go over with the fans, by the way, but it could, depending on...
You're thinking
how they do
Bailey retains this Sunday.
In a strange way, yeah.
Wow.
You know?
I can't disagree with
I don't
all
know
I'm
if
saying
it's,
is-
I don't know if that's a prediction though, because it makes more sense to put the belt on Alexa. But then again, I am weary on Alexa's condition. She seems to spot wrestle nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough, yeah.
So this could just be, let's get you in the ring. You're marketable. Your money, cha-ching. Do a program with Bailey and have this big turn for Bailey. You're the chip that makes that happen. That's possible too. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I like the program.
I want to
It's interesting.
give a shout out to Ric Flair, who was on,
Ric Flair.
on that Bubba Ray Dudley show, LaGreca show. What is
Gotcha.
it? Right? Flair was
That
on there.
elbow.
Right, so Flair revealed like what was wrong with him and the problems he was having, yada yada yada. But he did make the statement that he said Charlotte was the greatest female wrestler of all time.
I agree.
So she deserves that title at this point in her career. You agree with it?
I think anytime you have the belt on Charlotte at this time in her career, I can't argue with it. I think Charlotte's great.
Okay.
You know I'm a huge fan of Charlotte.
No, it'd not be. Look, does she have the potential to be the greatest? But could you?
She already is.
Could you name possibly anyone that
No.
is greater? No. Can I throw some names at you?
Go ahead.
Luna Vachon.
Different degree of great, but not greater than Charlotte Flair as a whole. No way. Go on.
That's a good. So
Different
I want to
degree
keep
of
it issue
great.
better, but that's perfect. Okay, how about Wendy Richter? Change the
no.
face of wrestling, bro.
No. Nope. No.
She changed the face of wrestling.
I understand that, but no. Nope. Charlotte's superior. Go on.
China.
Superior, different degree of great again, but as a overall total package, not even close.
Why?
Charlotte is everything. She reminds me of her dad, the ultimate wrestler, In the ring, great on promos. Come on. She's just like Dad. She's absolutely top notch. Can turn anyone she works with in the ring into gold. Has that quality like Dad.
Right.
She's just the best well-rounded. I just look at her and go, yep. And you look at how strong she is too. You ever look at her back and everything? Wow.
All right. How about
athlete.
Alunda Blaze? I keep calling her Alunda Blaze, but
You mean Medusa?
Medusa.
Medusa's an
I stay WWE
Medusa's an
true,
interesting case, but I still put Charlotte ahead of her.
Why?
Again, more superior.
Medusa good on the mic or no?
But,
Okay. Right. All right. How about as a worker?
excellent. Great physique too. But again, on the mic, not the full deal. I think Charlotte's the most well-rounded persona in the company right now. I've told you that before. I think she is. If everybody was as well-rounded as Charlotte, oh man, that'd be three straight hours of great.
Then I'm going to ask you this question. Who is the greatest second generation, I'll even give it third generation, wrestler of all time? We're talking generations,
man,
right?
can you start naming them or something? I mean,
You got
give me a heads up so I can look at
let's
the
call,
list.
Let's call Orton, Flair, Charlotte, right?
Charlotte's absolutely. You know what's weird? You know who comes to my mind right away? And I actually thought that and I don't mean any disrespect because his father was incredible, but Barry Windham comes to my mind right away. Think about a son of a legend that did better than Barry Windham. You could say Randy, by the way. You could say Randy.
Sure.
You could say Randy Orton. I would be hard pressed to argue it.
So if I was to say Windham,
those are the two I think of right away.
All right, so would I say who
But
has
as far
better-
as on paper accomplishments, oh my God.
who's had a better career, Windham or Orton?
Almost
It's a tough one, right?
Almost incredibly unfair because of the two extremely different time periods. Because I'm an old-time traditionalist, I think the fact that Barry held that belt when it was much more vital than it is today, and even dating back to the Ruthless Aggression period, Barry's title run, the fact that he won it back in those days, I think is superior in some ways. But I'm very much an old school guy.
I'll tell you what's getting scary is that when you talk, I'm starting to agree with everything that you said. Like, I think I'm not going to agree with what you're going to say, but you're spot on with everything.
You're asking some pretty good questions.
I couldn't choose
for a
between
guy
Orton
who's
or Wyndham.
gay. You're asking some excellent questions.
Oh boy,
I'm not, what the heck was
how about
that?
this? How about
We're
this?
only kidding you.
How about this
people.
one for you?
Yeah,
Meltzer getting torn apart by
Meltzer. What about Meltzer?
getting torn apart by Head. I don't know.
Al Snow.
Al Snow. Did
Head.
you catch that YouTube interview?
I actually did. Yeah, I heard that.
So
I don't think
let
he-
me give the lead in, and then you can answer it. Right. So
I think he was honest.
Al Snow speaks about like how can someone who's never wrestled really be a writer or
Right.
have any kind of opinion that matters. So basically saying if you didn't do it, you really have no opinion.
Well, you know that I disagree with that. If that's
It's not exclusively what he says, but
if that one argument there, I absolutely disagree with, because what does that mean? That Gordon Soley and Jim Ross should shut up? I mean, what does that mean?
well, they were announcers; they weren't critics,
You know.
right? Wouldn't Meltzer be
No,
a critic?
it wasn't the point that I think you were saying. His point was is that if you haven't fought in a ring, how can you even have an opinion? Like, okay, I get that, but what about the Gordon Soleys of the world? Or if you want to go into other sports, what about Mike Francesa? Now, I know a lot of people don't like Mike Francesa. Well, guess what? He's been the number one voice in this city since 1988, 31 years, and he doesn't play any sports. He's a genius. Love him or hate him. Same thing with Meltzer, by the way. He's another guy who's a genius. Do I always agree with him? Absolutely not. Sometimes I think he's completely nuts. But other times, I know he's a smart guy. I don't think he's an idiot. I don't agree with a lot of his opinions. I think he's totally biased to Vince, and I think that being biased against anyone, love him or hate him, is stupid.
So let me ask you this question.
Don't tell me 10 out of 10 times New Japan is better than anything Vince has done in the last 30 years. What the? Get out. That's way too biased for me.
You've played in some big-time bands.
Yeah.
But as a a wrestling guy,
Yeah.
you're pretty much, right? We're just fans who ended up getting a show that caught a little fire, right?
Sure.
Do you have a right to your opinion? Does your opinion matter? Do you know what you're talking about?
Sure. We all know what we're talking about, I mean, Everybody's got an opinion. I don't discount anybody's opinions, you know? I could smell a troll a mile away, but I don't discount anyone's, legitimate opinions.
What's the definition of a troll, man?
Well, I don't know. Jim might be able to help me answer that one. What's a
What is
troll,
a troll?
Jim? I mean, you can just tell. You can feel
You hear it
them.
all the time. I don't know what's a
You
troll.
can feel them when you read them. You're like, yeah.
First of all, was
you're
there
a troll.
such thing as a troll before internet or social media?
There's
What's
those
that?
trolls in The Hobbit. Weren't the trolls in The Hobbit? Those little
Bilbo
gremlin-looking
Baggins.
things.
You know, I'm not trying to have a serious conversation.
Yeah, that's
all
pretty
right?
funny, though.
Any conversation that involves the word trolls is not serious.
Who was that troll on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood who had like the Amish beard? There was a troll.
Was there a
kid
troll
Was
there?
it like a
Was he
troll?
Amish?
I don't know if he was an
Amish.
Amish troll. I just know I think he was on
So,
that
question for both of you guys:
show. Yeah.
what do you love about social media?
Oh boy.
I love the ability to reconnect with a lot of friends that I lost touch with, because for our generation it was kind of cool
Yeah,
because we lost touch with a lot of people for like 25 years.
sure.
Yeah.
Before this came about. We're the first generation to really, well, our parents, some of my parents are on Facebook, so they've experienced it even more so, but our generation's the real one, so that's cool. And it's also cool to be able to interact with a lot of people. Like my circle of friends has expanded.
And you don't have to be on it.
Exponentially
You don't have to be on the phone with each other. You don't have to be near each other. You
just
can
text,
interact.
you just say, hey, what's up? Blah, blah.
Jimmy,
I like that it gives you a platform to be creative. I appreciate that from social media. If you're talking, Facebook is a platform to showcase your art, I appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is when it turns into CNN or Fox. That I don't appreciate. I excuse me for being a idealistic kind of guy, but I always thought that Facebook should be someplace where you go to have fun, put a smile on your face. Like Jim was saying, talk to people you haven't seen in a while. Yo, what's up, bro? But some of the shit I see is like it needs a can of Raid. It really does. It bothers me, man. It's like come
there
on.
lies some of my problems there. So
It's like, stop already.
Most recently, I've seen some people actually like their life has been torn apart by being bullied on social media.
Really?
And here's a perfect example. This kid Matt, or whoever the hell he is, right?
Okay.
It's like you come across a show. It's the first time you saw a show, and your first thing you want to write is gay.
Right.
It's like, would you call me gay if you were 3 feet away from me?
No.
You wouldn't. You would fucking probably shit your pants. But so my point is, like, why do people feel it necessary to like say, if you don't like something, you don't watch it. You don't like something, you don't like the way it tastes, you don't eat it, right? You're right?
Yeah.
Why does everybody feel it necessary to tear things down or try to hurt people or insult people? What is that all about?
Because they can and there's no repercussions, so they do.
So it's a repercussion end?
Oh, absolutely. Back in the day, you wouldn't pull this shit. Your ass would be taken out back after school and stomped like a fucking bug on a rug.
So or Tombstone. Did you find that video yet?
Yeah, where's the tombstone of the two chicks, like, bludgeoning each other that I haven't seen? It sounds awful.
So that's something you don't like about social media.
Yeah, I'm not into that,
Do you think that people have fake muscles? Is that what it is? Or
I just don't think that it's something people would do in front of each other, so why are they doing it there? To me, it's like cowardly, it's BS, And
does it bother you?
It does enough sometimes to just want to get the hell off it for a day or two, which is what I do sometimes. I just get off it for a day or two, and then I'm like, all right.
How about you, Jim?
Let's see
Does
if
it
the
bother
stench
you?
has left the room, you know what I mean?
Does it bother you?
No.
Jim loves
There's
it.
not really much that anyone could say to me that's gonna take to heart.
Right.
If you stood right in my face and said something to me, I'm gonna take it to heart.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be over the wires and
It's just funny.
Wi-Fi waves,
I guess my
you're gonna
point
write
is:
shit.
is the world just become totally negative at this point?
Not negative. I think the world has become smaller, and I think that people who had no lives now think they do because they can be fake people and be one thing.
You mean like wear sunglasses and hats and have a wrestling show?
Listen,
Yeah.
we all do our own thing. I'm talking more about the people
No, I
who
got it.
aren't necessarily social, who all of a sudden
Now they're social.
Have a platform, and they can be tough guys and instead of making pizza.
So let me ask you this: so that you have this platform, you have this platform at social media, and so you both named some good things about it and some bad things about it. So here's a question for you:
Yeah.
Are you, as our age now, do you feel like you don't want to get out of the house? Like you feel more comfortable sitting at your house?
Feel nice and safe inside.
So my point is, it's like
asking.
to me, it's like I said to my wife the other day we were out, and I'm like, I'll tell you what, and she said to me too, just like staying at home, man.
Yeah.
We don't want to be around people these
Why
days.
bother?
Like you can go places and get killed.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're sitting here,
really
some dude just gonna shoot you.
It's really happening now.
Yes.
So it's like it's coming.
It's getting
coming.
very strange, man.
It is right.
Like I always
very strange.
I always wanted to have like a gun permit for protection, But now I really want to have a gun permit for protection.
Yes. Yeah.
Because at least I'm going to go down fighting.
That's right. Well, but there's a perfect example, right? Before you were out for a minute. We were talking about fans. They're out of control. Like now, like back in the day, I never would ever touch a wrestler.
No.
I put my hand out, and if they slapped them, but now you got people grabbing, hugging wrestlers.
I don't get
this
it.
is no, but this is
I
the
don't
exact
get it.
point.
Yeah.
You could go to a bar and get shot in the head because you just happen to be wrong place, wrong time. These wrestlers, it's like now I understand it's up to the promotion to keep these wrestlers protected. Right?
Yeah.
And you know what? There's some mixed messages from wrestlers. I get it. But at no point, again, if a wrestler came against a rail and I was that age, back then, I would never have touched them. Even if I had the opportunity. Because people have their private... There's limits, right? I buy a ticket, I could say boo, I could say this, but I can't call you 80
I'm dying.
names. Good.
I'm dying.
Good.
Do you remember?
Good.
This is you have a funny line, by the way. Your line as to what a fan can do and can't.
Okay.
Do you remember? This was great. We were at Deer Park like 5 years ago, and they spilled out in front of me, and it was a really bad couple of wrestlers. The guy with the alligator shoe or whatever. It was awful. The guy was terrible. They come, Jim. They come spilling out right at my feet. Right. I'm checking to see if they're okay because they took a legitimate spill. Right. Mike whips out the phone and he goes, "Take a picture with them. Like, stick your head down there. Like,
But you're not touching them, though.
You wanted me to go like an inch from them. Then he just spilled out like, bang, bang, bang. I'm like, you all right? You're like, take picture
But
with
not
them.
touch
I'm
them.
like, stop, leave them alone. They
Photo bomb,
But
dude.
they just crashed in front of
In
us.
fact, these guys.
And he's like, take
wait
a
minute.
picture. He whips out
if
the
you remember
phone.
that,
I'm like, what are you doing?
If you remember that exactly,
That
these
was
guys,
so funny.
these independent wrestlers are so finely tuned at their craft.
What?
That when they came over the rails.
Which ones? Not those two.
Hold on. You remember this?
What?
They were so finely tuned to the way they
Oh
did
my
things.
God.
They took out a 3-year-old and basically